And in Liechtenstein, it was the other way around. We had to be there. We spent the whole time there, so it was quite intensive. But there was nothing to do in Liechtenstein anyway.
Except of skiing, you mean?
Except of skiing, some running, and so on.
Good morning. My name is Zuzana Drahotova, and this is our architecture podcast. Today we have Zuzana here. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Good morning. And she's our fresh studio leader. She's responsible for the course called Architecture Design, and together with Ilan Fessler, she's heading the studio of almost 22 students. I will start with my first question, and that is, why did you decide to study architecture?
Why? It surprised me. I expected when, but why? I think I was inspired. There were two architects that they were in charge in Sázava, small city I came almost from. And when I see them, I really like the job. And I was on elementary school, so I didn't know actually too much what does it mean to be architect. But my mother was working at the building department on the city hall, and I always seen their interaction. And as I said, I liked it a lot. So it was a first impression. Then I've seen that they've changed a square there in Sázava. It hasn't any center, and they created one. And for me, it was also like they affected the environment, and even people that they are always doubting and so on. They started to use it and like it. So it was another moment. I said to myself, okay, maybe I will be architect. Then I went to grammar school, and I liked math and geometry. So it started to form myself, and actually I think the first year I was completely decided, so I've already chosen all the subjects, and then I had just one application for the university, and so it was that I wanted to somehow be part of this change.
Of the creative, to create something, probably, to change something. This I can understand. So that was already during your elementary school studies. So you were less than 15, probably.
Yes.
And in the Czech Republic, there is quite known chain of those after-school activities, which is called základní škola umění, základní umělecká škola. So it's kind of art school, which is the afternoon education for kids. Did you attend?
I did, because when I went to grammar school, it's more like there is no focus on anything, or there is focus on everything. And when I also announced I will be architect, I was told like, but you will never get to the university because you don't know how to draw and you need to practice it and so on. So I started to search where I can study it, and it was základní umělecká škola Anděl.
Here in Prague.
Here in Prague. So I attended it.
Yeah, that's when I when I was preparing for entrance exams to Faculty of Architecture. I think it hasn't changed much till today. They always required like sketching, the ability to sketch, as well as mathematical and let's say geometrical knowledge, the combination of those. So kind of naturally all applicants try to be part of that afternoon or after school activity concentrated on art, where we were taught, how to sketch a tree or a house, what is a perspective, how you can. So you went through the same process. Actually, I don't believe anymore that architects have to know how to sketch, because I think that now, with all the technologies and develop and I mean progress in that part, it's a bit different. Also, less and less people are able even to write. As we are using keyboards more and more. But I think other abilities are important for studying architecture. But that's topic for another interview. So going back to your let's say childhood, Prague Faculty of Architecture was your only choice, or have you been considering other
only
schools?
Choice, because I was living at Prague, so it was actually the closest university, and probably I considered it as the best option to study architecture in Czech Republic, because.
So you didn't think about going abroad?
At the beginning, not.
So you wanted to study it or stay in Prague, studying
in Prague,
there?
Studying.
But I know you also studied abroad. So when was that and why?
I think after bachelor studies, it wasn't like there was no doubt that everybody will try it and will go somewhere, at least for a half semester or 1 semester, half a year. And I've decided, of course, I want to go outside as well. And my choice was actually Netherlands. I wanted to study in Delft. And actually, I went to this exam and they told me it was excellent. But there was some couple and just 2 persons, they wanted to send them together and not split. So they told me, what about Liechtenstein? For 1 year. And I wasn't so sure, but actually I've decided why not, and this decision changed my life because I went there for 1 year, not a half, and I stayed there because after this Erasmus program they offered me to finish my studies there. And actually there was this discussion, I'm just missing 1 semester at Czech Technical University and I already want to go to work, so I don't want any prolong. And there was an agreement in the end that I will come back to Prague. No, that I will squeeze my study program in Liechtenstein and I will finish there the master, I will do the diploma there, and then I will come back to Prague and do the second diploma. So the prolong will be just 1 more semester, not 1 year. So I've decided for both, and the reason was that I felt like it will open me some doors in Switzerland and studying abroad, because I know that Czech Technical University has some reputation, but on the other hand, I fall in love with the Swiss architecture and this simple and functionalism and so on. So I felt it's a door opener, so that's why I did it.
But can you tell us more about the school itself? Because Liechtenstein is a kind of pretty small state, and that there is a school of architecture, what they do, what is their focus, and how was that?
Yeah, it's quite surprising because they are really small, and they have 2 universities, banking and architecture, because they have money, and also because they have money, they could offer or afford to bring the best professor they found. So Elias Engelis was also teaching there 1 semester before I came, so his assistant actually was teaching me, who was also closely connected with OMA, Rem Koolhaas, and so it was interesting, and it was completely different than Czech Technical University. I was studying there more theory of architecture, and we were doing also visionary architecture. And at Czech Technical University, I was also doing my practice because I could afford it, and I wasn't following all the lectures, because the mindset here is to finish the exams, and you have some marks, and you have some credits, of course, but everything depends on this end point, like this exam, if you pass or not, if you get the correct question and answer. And in Liechtenstein, it was the other way around. We had to be there. We spent the whole time there, so it was quite intensive, but there was nothing to do in Liechtenstein anyway.
Except of skiing, you mean?
Except of skiing, some running, and so on. So it was great to have this focus. And actually, as the semester passed, we knew that somehow we will also pass, because the mark wasn't based on the last final exam, but it was more about you are there, you are active, and you are doing some activity, and you are involved in the process. The studio was different. Of course, in the end, you could have any. Is it mark?
Great.
Any grade you deserve. But as well, even in the middle of the semester, you already knew if you will pass or not. So from my point of view, it was completely different. And there was also this grading from 1 to 6. 6 was almost unreachable. 5.5, because they even have this half, was like you are an excellent student, and the 3 was like you passed. And there was always this 2.5 to 1.5 and so on. And they always give you, even how worse you are, even if you didn't pass, it has different levels as well.
Okay, really? So
almost you didn't pass, no, you
even completely passed.
Completely failed.
Oh, sorry, completely failed. Interesting. I think now you kind of describe the Western approach to teaching and education in general. I think that's still the difference between, let's say, Western and Eastern part of Europe. And I'm a little bit jealous that I also had a very short experience in, let's say, Western education, but that's why the school, that's why I started the school, that I want to attract students, that they are eager to stay, they should be eager to stay here, like every day, and to work here constantly on their projects and on their other courses. So that's the dream, that's the ideal status.
We had keys from the school, so we could be there anytime.
Anytime, yeah. That's wonderful. And so apart of studying, you were also skiing and running. What else did you kind of experience? What did Liechtenstein or stay there? What did it give you for your future?
This direction that I knew that afterwards, even it wasn't planned, then it was obvious when I will finish my diploma, I will go to work abroad, to Switzerland.
So you spent some time working abroad then after completing your studies?
I applied and really I had an opportunity which was a surprise for me, and when Eckert from Zurich asked me to join their team, so it was.
And how was it?
No hesitation. It was again tough. It was everyday work, about 14 hours, 12 hours. Right? There was nothing instead of this work, but I've expected, and I accepted, because I also, after finishing the school, I already had the praxis, but anyway, I was eager to work. But couldn't be possible to stay there forever. Because it's based on there come these interns, and they will give them their
everything
best,
they have,
everything they have, and then they leave. So it was great, and also it created for me a lot of contacts and friends and different colleagues. So and this I'm in touch, in contact somehow till nowadays, even from Liechtenstein, that we have a huge base of.
Really, you keep until today.
Yes,
you keep your friendships from then. But going back to your practice or internship after completing your studies, how long did you stay in Switzerland?
I stayed in the end just 6 months.
And can you share with us your experience with different projects? What kind of projects you worked on?
I came there as after school, so of course
graduate.
I was doing competitions.
I thought models, that you were making models.
And plenty of models, because it was based on the models. Everything was based on the models.
Like physical models.
Physical, yeah.
Has to be added.
I make a model for them. Yeah. And
I don't mean, I thought like virtual model or physical model.
No, physical and virtual. And actually, there was always the senior architect, which was somehow leading, but we talked also to our bosses that every day there was a plant meeting. They were so organized. Every day at Monday they said us when we will have this talk with them. Like Wednesday from 12 to 13, and everything will be prepared. And it was like a presentation. We printed all out. These bosses came there and so on. So I was led also with Sebastian, that was the senior architect. But most of work was also on me. And first was the ballet school, John Cranko in Stuttgart. It was a competition, and actually there we got first prize, or it was almost. And then I was designing a Kunstmuseum Tuchur. That was my second project.
Also competition project.
Also competition. And what was different also from our let's say working environment here, what I experienced, that first day I came there, they told me, okay, we don't stay overnight today. I was like, why? It's normally in the end. And that they always are so prepared that everything went so well that in the end you are not having this last minute panic. And somehow I've learned this, and I try to keep it also for myself. And the second competition we finished even almost 1 month earlier than needed. So
no, I 100% agree. It's not always possible to do that. 1 month, it's really surprising. Usually, as you know and experience, you work till the last minute. But this time management, that's important. And we have one course taught by Dalibor Zurila here, who tries to, inspire students to do so, to actually pre-plan their time and somehow try to figure out in which time point certain amount of work will be completed and so on. It's difficult to follow that, but it's definitely, positive feeling you got after that it works very well. Great. So from Switzerland, you came back to the Czech Republic, and what? So now between, coming back from from Liechtenstein, Switzerland, and today. So what did you do here in the Czech Republic?
I finished some project of mine, and then I knew that I want to come back to some big studio. Before I have been during the school working almost 7 years in ADR. And then I spent another half a year with them, but I decided that I really need a change. So contacted Jan Schindler, and then he contacted me. After half a year there was a gap, and we agreed on cooperation, and I stayed there more than 11 years.
So 11 years you spent in one of the biggest studio, probably most active, I would say, studio in Prague. In Prague. Probably most of the projects of the studio, most of them are based here in Prague. So you collaborated with them. So can you give us some example of the projects you worked on?
Actually, that was great. Since they are big studio, but actually concerning to the other big cities, that they are a small one because we already have about 20 people, but the projects are really huge scale, and I could touch a different range of the project, which was great because I started with the residence at Pohořelec. It was a cultural heritage, and it was renovated. There was this documentation was never
realized. Actually, the building is still under horrible conditions, standing at Pohořelec.
There was the tough discussion with the neighbors, and then also the city and other. I designed a couple of, was doing competition of the office building, and also I take part in competition on Česká spořitelna campus next to Smíchovské nádraží. That was also significant. Then we built our first project, or I was participating. It was a kindergarten, Green Tree in Davidson. And then the end of the 2015, beginning 2016, I started Kunsthalle. And alongside, I was also dealing with different small projects, but this was the main one.
So you have to tell us more about Kunsthalle project, because the Kunsthalle was open, was it 22nd of February 2022? And so it's almost 2 years ago. It's almost 2 years ago, another years. Number 2. So became like a huge thing within let's say culture, architecture environment here in Prague, in our bubble of architects and designers. So can you tell us something about it? How was it to work on it, and what all you had to undergone while working on this project?
Yeah, it was great. It was great cooperation with Janek. We closely discussed it all and went all through these stages. And since there was no other gallery like this, and especially the standard, we had to travel abroad as well. And also with the current director and curator, we visited a lot of galleries, which was quite, from the point of education, that's what I like on the architecture, that you always have to educate yourself, and every project is actually kind of beginning and start, and new start. And actually we were starting to, there was difficult point between urban planning permit and building permit, because Klub za Starou Prahu wanted to stop the project. Almost they done it, but luckily it didn't happen. And then when we started to build it, the COVID appeared. So it was also a tough 2 years maybe. Also because of the materials and this limitation of contact. But we went all through, and it was a great experience also to start with the discussion with client in the meeting rooms. Then you move to really hard and tough project planning and this detailing and so on. And then you go to the site. There is more than 100 workers, and you deal with them, talk to them. Then you have this
Kontrolní den, you mean?
Kontrolní den as well, and dodavatele.
Yeah, this it's a supervision day, isn't it? Like weekly,
sometimes twice, because we had with client, and then on the site sometimes it was also 14 days. It was quite tough, and really dealing with some different parts of this project. And at the beginning you are speaking about the stuff like we are opening the gallery, and that will be the best gallery in Prague, and how does it look like. And in the end you are checking if the hook on the toilet is on the right spot, and how the tiling should be divided, and so on. So really a huge.
Probably it's also important to mention that there was an existing building which was from 20s or 30s. From 30s, and probably if you can say a little bit more about that the gallery was not built as a new build, that it was like reconstruction or conversion of the existing building.
It's conversion. It was Zenger transformator, and within these years the technology was squeezed into a small part of the basement. So 2015 it was just on the small part under the lobby, and the building was empty. And technology can somehow easily react on the development and evolution, but architecture kind of not. And there was already some club cockpit, which was for kind of public function, and there were some small events, so maybe the building already was trying to say what it would like to be. And then we decided, or the client decided, to convert it to gallery, but still this part, which is the transformator or this electrical station for the trams, it's still in use, and it was also during the site. So if it wasn't, there would be tram collapse along Malostranska and the riverbank.
Yeah, that's what I heard, because I was there several times for the exhibition, but also with you and Janek on sightseeing, where we visited actually all parts. So it was a kind of a complication, or a big kind of a complicated part of the project to actually leave that transformator there and build around the gallery. So that was one part. Another part is probably important to mention, where the gallery is situated.
It's Malostranska, next to the steps to Prague Castle.
Yeah, so it's very, very central.
It's very central, UNESCO zone, and it was actually, maybe it's a chance, who knows, but 2015, when the founders bought the building, it was pronounced as a cultural heritage. So
not an easy task for architects
exactly,
to cope with the
and
heritage
especially if
protection.
the inner part was out of concrete, which was unstable and couldn't be there anymore, and also it was contaminated with some other stuff. So wasn't easy to discuss all
so
this.
when did you make the first sketch for the
It was
gallery?
2014.
2014.
It was my colleague, because we were asked to do a concept of the gallery, because first they wanted to prove that this building is good for the gallery, or it's possible to fit there somehow their vision.
So it was 8 years only between first sketch and the completion.
Somehow it went fast.
Yeah,
concerning such a building,
right in the heart of Prague, and
public
all the
one.
other aspects of it.
We were lucky, because normally we have a project, they are there 15 years, and even this Pohořelec, which I started, it's more than 12 years and nothing happened.
This is another topic I think we can open up next time. But the last question would be, you are teaching here for 2 months, and so you are very fresh in teaching, even though you had some experience from before. So what is the most exciting on it? How is it? I mean, combining your practice and teaching.
I think it's to listen them and to see also their point of view, because we are now too bounded with all the rules and the law and the knowledges, which is fine, and it's necessary if you want to be a practicing architect to know all of it. But on the other hand, to see if they have no limit, and this white paper and ideal atmosphere, what they are going to create and what they can. So it's very inspiring and giving energy, and also in the end taking energy.
It's like 100%
so it is in balance somehow.
That's right. So thank you very much for your time, and see you next time. Thank you very much for listening.